lot of things for Google developers as well as open data and for Hudson Valley. So be busy with all those things. You accepted our invitation to talk to us. Thank you so much. And with that said, I will turn it over to John to give a introduction about you and keep things going.
Thank you guys for hosting me again. What I want to do, I need some help because I would not be able to read, to deliver the slide deck and just to read the chat. So.
Sure, Yulia. I will keep monitoring the chat, and if any question pops up, I'll let you know.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes. So do you want, anybody wants to introduce themselves? I think this is an open time. We can just socialize a bit. And after like a couple of minutes, we
Let's
can
do that.
start.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It gives me some time.
Yes.
Also, John, if you can give a quick introduction about Yulia, what are the things she's working on, and how you got connected and all to the audience, and then get it going.
Yes, sure. Okay. Hi, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining in. We have Yulia today, and she is a founder of Open Hub project. And we had a connection from hackathons. So I was a part of RPI hackathons when Yulia hosted the Dev Fest. And she's a part of Google developer groups in the upper capital region at Hudson. So we just got connected from there. And I worked with her. I also gave a couple of talks in the GDG event. And she does a lot of things, a lot of community building activities, and hackathons is one of the way. And she's also, she also has done her PhD. And we have all the introduction down there. We see economics, CS, and applied mathematics. We are very glad to have her today. I also was speaking to her about IEEE collaborating with GDG, and in future probably host a hackathon and get a lot of traction from the college students, especially because the upstate has a lot of colleges here, RPI, we have U Albany, we have Union College, a lot of things are there here, Yulia. So I just wanted to see if we can collaborate. And normally the session is like around 1 hour. You can take like 40 to 50 minutes up to you. Feel free. And then after those things, we have like 10 to 15 minutes of QA if anybody has it. I will do all the recording for the folks who will be missing this event. So I'll be posting on our YouTube channel. And I give this time to you, Yulia. And if anybody wants to introduce, this is the time to introduce yourself, probably a couple of minutes before she starts. That would be a great segue to start.
Sounds awesome.
No, absolutely. And I echo what John said. Yulia, we have been putting a lot of effort in revitalizing our old chapter, and we had a challenge with computer chapter. But we have been, now getting some momentum, and it's a very important field. So we are trying to find a speaker, either local or maybe, outside as well, a remote speaker for virtual talk. And that's a way to engage the students. Basically, we are interacting with our local universities, RPI and Union and U Albany. So our goal is to get students involved with IEEE and industry and get that industry exposure early while they are graduating. Thank you for your time and helping us.
No, pleasure is mine. Do we need to start recording or anything, any housekeeping?
Yeah, I've started the recording, Yulia. Once the session is finished, I'll get the recording email and I can download it.
Meanwhile, I will put a question in the chat, okay?
Sure.
Of course, of course. But just put one. We'll calculate. Okay. Are we good to start presenting? Yay, of course, of course. Okay.
Yes, Yulia, you can take the time and you can start. Yeah.
Yeah, we're ready. I'm ready. If you're ready.
I think we have around 13 people right now. I think around 15 people have registered. Pretty much. If people come, I'll do the housekeeping to admit all the guests, and you can start, Yulia. Thank you so much.
Excellent. So these are questions. I really want you to answer. Question number one, of course, how many of you have used an AI tool to do something in the last month that you used to do manually? And question number two, the one I will use. Again, I want to see numbers in the chat, please, if I may. I do want to see answers, but I kind of don't have any doubts about that. But these stats, everything what you put in the chat really helps me. Meanwhile, my name is Yulia. I co-lead GDG Hudson Valley. I run hackathons. I have PhD in economics and I have master in computer science. Yes, I started my career as web developer in 1995. Yeah. And I have a hypothesis I want to put in front of this room, because this is exactly the kind of room where it should be disputed. Okay, let's check the chat. Yeah, that's where we are. And I don't think this room needs me to tell you what you already know. What is being automated? So many things. QA, pipelines, code generation, documentation, routine data processing. You're hearing in the news that AI will replace engineers and technical workers. I don't believe in this. What I want to discover today is how engineers stay relevant through multiple technology cycles, including AI threat. So what I want to talk is not the threat, but I want to discover the variable that separates the engineers who stay relevant through multiple technology cycles from the ones who do not. Okay. Slide. Next slide. This is my thesis. That's what I will be exploring today or trying to prove. The engineer who stays relevant is the one who has deliberately crossed domains and can think from multiple vantage points at once. Not a generalist, a practitioner who has accumulated lenses. I call this cross-disciplinary intelligence, and I want to make 3 cases for it in the next 30 minutes, a historical case, a personal case, and a scientific case. I'm using my notes. But for historical one, I would start with the ancient Athens. Let's go back 2,500 years. I don't know if you heard about this term or not, but basically, that's what it is. The Athenians created democracy, philosophy, drama, and the foundations of Western mathematics in a city of about 30,000 people. The mechanism was the agora, and you see the definition here. Oh, you saw the definition of the previous slide. The Agora was not a lecture hall. It was an open cross-disciplinary forum where philosophers, mathematicians, politicians, craftsmen met, disputed, and synthesized across a specialization. The method was structured argument across difference. The goal was not consensus, it was truth. Socrates, am I saying the name right? My pronunciation might suck, but I'm trying. I have a heavy accent. Socrates didn't specialize. He interrogated everything. The Socratic method is cross-disciplinary by design. Take any claim from any domain and ask why. Ask what it rests on, what it implies. So the liberal arts tradition that followed was explicitly designed to produce people who could think, not just execute. Da Vinci didn't switch careers. He accumulated lenses. Each one made the others more powerful. Then the industrial economy happened, and we went the opposite direction. Deeper, narrower, more function-specific. For a century, it worked. Problems were stable. Tools evolved slowly. So being focused paid. Where we are right now, tools evolve every 18 months. And AI actually every few weeks. What we see right now is AI is automating the single function roles, and we are suddenly looking at the Renaissance model and asking, maybe that wasn't inefficiency, maybe that was the point. So my point or my thesis is the hackathon is the modern Agora, and I know that because in my own career is the proof. That's the definition of Agora I really like. Agora as a public space where ideas are freely exchanged. But this one is like the concept of Agora. So my own experience did prove, and I called it zigzag career. So let's talk a little bit about me. So my career never moved in a straight line. It always moved in sideways. Always sideways. I started as a web developer in 1995, as I said, one of the first in Russia. I understood the technology from inside. Then I moved to marketing. I wanted to understand how people make decisions. Then I switched to journalism. I wanted to understand how information moves, how narrative shapes what people believe is true. Then management, then business development, publishing, analytics, running my own marketing research agency, measuring what actually works for whole telecom industry. At every turn, people thought I was starting over, but I was not. I was adding the new lens. Every domain I crossed made me sharper in the domains before it. My marketing thinking got better because I understood the technology. My technology thinking got better because I understood the user journey. My analytics thinking got better because I understood the narrative. So the lenses compound. In 2009, I became the first woman elected to run Russian Internet Council. Not because I was the deepest expert in any single domain, but because I could see across all of them. And I became famous, a big influencer. So this was quite a successful career, I shall say. But then I relocated to the US. And then I had to reinvent myself. Oops. This is a slide. A little bit of drama to be introduced. I arrived with PhD, with 20 years of experience and resume Nobody knew how to read. Too much, wrong shape, applied for jobs, overqualified again, overqualified again. That experience of being capable and at the same time invisible does something to a person. It makes you question whether the problem is you. Luckily, the tech community didn't care about my resume. The tech community was the most welcoming one. They looked at what I could do and said, jump in, let's start with the hackathon, or let's start with study jam first. If you need to polish your skills, let's do it. Let's brush it. But your foundation is real. And your curiosity cannot be taught. After study jams and kind of feel a little bit more established, or at least welcomed, 2017, I was invited to Google Hackathon. I showed up to the hackathon, and guess what? Yeah, I came over prepared. Completely over prepared. I walked in with a fully formed idea about the problem I'd like to solve, the problem I've been watching for years. I came with the team already, recruited the team before the hackathon. Well, we're supposed to do it at the hackathon, but we were using Slack. So I really went through each and every person's skill and just like recruited very precisely those I really wanted. I walked in with the fully formed idea about the problem and with the fully formed team. Brilliant technologists, they could build anything. They were just wasn't sure what to build. That's when I understood the core insight. There are two different questions in every room. In your engineering experience too. What to build, which could be referred to product management, product development. What and how. What to build and how to build it. So most technical training focuses almost entirely on the second question. But the first, the problem worth solving, is a cross-disciplinary skill. And in that room, it was mine. So we won. And it was the proof of my idea, proof of the concept. And Open Hub was incorporated that year. So pretty much my statement is, my zigzag wasn't a liability. It was the exact preparation that moment needed. So let me introduce you to another concept. We call this cross-disciplinary intelligence. And I want to be precise because it is not the same as being a generalist. It's not being shallow in many things. You still need depth somewhere, a home base, a domain you know from the inside. What it adds is this, the deliberate accumulation of domain lenses, so that you can stand on the intersection of fields and see problems that people inside any single field cannot see. And the most important for our topic today is, in the AI era, the engineer who understands only the code only is replaceable by a model. The engineer who understands the code and the domain. So you see the intersection. The code and the domain it operates in, who knows what the task should be catching, who knows what the system is actually for. That engineer is the one the model works for. Let me pause here and ask, do you have any questions so far? So those slides, we will come back to those slides because I see how IEEE can use it. For example, for this or that. If you have
That's quite a journey.
is what CDI is not, so we can talk about this.
No, that's quite a journey.
Say it again.
That's quite a big journey, that you have so much of cross-disciplinary intelligence from different domains. It's really interesting how you used all those traits.
Yeah. There are companies who are doing innovations by design. They are doing innovations as business. So they're invited to innovate. And that's exactly how they do it. So they hire people from different industries, different domains, and they don't want to see people absolutely aligned. They want the diversity. They want to see people thinking and knowing different perspectives. One of the innovations methods, very well known, is design by analogy. And I can talk a lot about this, but that's how different science are taught. For example, when ultrasound or acoustic, okay, let's take acoustic. And my husband is acoustic engineer. So the way we learned acoustic in their college, and it was early years teaching acoustic, they refer to electromagnetic science. And it was a good analogy, and it provided them a lot of good lens for research. And that's how they built acoustic science. It's just one of examples. But I just want you to see how cross-disciplinary intelligence is important. And that's why I appreciate Agora model so much, because it sounds like it's holistic science, holistic knowledge, when ancient Greeks were exposed and practicing. And once we developed specific narrow industries, we were not able to be so holistic, maintain this holistic truth-seeking approach. And we became very narrow specialists. And that's why now you can see intersections emerging between physics and chemistry, for example, or between different industries, but still they remain very narrow. So I kind of want to go back to the holistic approach and to see the science, to see the life, to see everything as the whole, and with the only approach of truth seeking. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Thank you for your likes. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about science. Now I will refer to psychology science. It's really important. Actually, I didn't mention, but I got my associate degree as a psychology, in psychology. What bothered me, why I switched to computer science, because psychology was not measurable, not science-based by then. And I was like, how come? I was coming to my dad, getting the homework to describe how our brain works. And my dad was the computer science, actually, scientist. And he said, do you want to know how computers' brain work? And me saying, of course, I do want to know it. And he said, it was invented just watching humans and kind of replicating human behaviors, or just like human way of thinking, not only biology, but also kind of trying to have algorithms, to see algorithms behind that. So he was communicating the process, how computers think, to me. And I was like 15 years old. It was easy, clearer for me. And I was coming back to psychology, to my psychology college. And I was explaining this as a theory. And they were applauding me. They're like, oh, this is so cool. We were thinking different approach, but it's so far from the reality. And this seems very real. And then I decided psychology is not what I want to study right now. I want to study science, and I want to go back to psychology, applying science to that. And that's what I did. So sorry for this spin-off. Let's go back to the science of psychology, which is kind of proven now. There are specific terms I want to introduce. Self-determination theory, at least that's how it's known in this country, by Deci and Ryan. This is one of the most replicated frameworks in psychology right now. Interesting enough, right? So this theory identifies three needs that, when met simultaneously, activate intrinsic motivation, the kind that sustains itself without external rewards. Autonomy is the first pillar. I choose this. I am working on it because I find it generally interesting for me, so it's my call. Competence, the challenge matches and stretches my skills. So I'm competent enough and there is enough challenge. And relatedness. The people I'm working with need what I have. So it's about them, people. I'm part of something bigger. I'm part of the team. So my statement is, the engineers who cross domains voluntarily, who show up to meetups, who run side projects, attend hackathons without being required to, those engineers are practicing intrinsic motivation. And I have to prove John is one of them. And I really appreciate that because he's the driver behind the scene. Thank you, John, for everything what you've done, volunteering, assisting, just being part of something bigger. And the research finding is unambiguous. Intrinsic motivation predicts both quality and quantity of performance. And extrinsic incentives predicts only quantity. So you cannot pay someone into the curiosity that produces cross-disciplinary insights, but you can design the environment where the curiosity emerges. That's the design principle behind a hackathon. That's the principle behind the open space. I don't know if you appreciate open space. There are pros and cons for open space, but this is designed for people to freely exchange ideas. Let me see if I want to talk about, yeah, this is another concept. I'm not sure this would help us much, but this is flow research. And this flow research adds to the second dimension to the intrinsic motivation. Again, you are familiar with the term be in the flow, but my question was always, is it measurable? How to get there, how to manage people, how to measure and manage it, right? So what flow is? Ideally, we all can work in the flow, and it's win-win for your employer and for yourself and for your career growth. So it's complete absorption, for effortless performance. This emerges when challenge matches skill at the edge of capability with clear goals and immediate feedback. So interesting enough, more structured learning doesn't produce the flow. They all have artificial challenge, delayed feedback. The goal is a grade, not a result. And that's why, from my point of view, hackathon is so important, because hackathon is engineered for flow, for real problem, real team, real deadline, immediate feedback from judges who know what good looks like, skills stretched by unfamiliar domain contact. So flow research outcomes is persistence, commitment, achievement, reduced anxiety, not just in the moment, but this is a lasting orientation toward new challenges. So the engineer who regularly experiences flow in cross-disciplinary environments, those engineers develop a fundamentally different relationship to the next technology cycle. So this cycle is not threatening them, but interesting them. So two psychological concepts, very far from engineering background, but I just wanted to introduce you to those. Yes, Open Hub designed the specific flow, specific framework to run it as the Agora. So we want to build the hackathons, and what we're doing at our hackathons, we design them as modern Agora. So the hackathon format I'm describing is not 24-hour coding sprint. That version rewards the fastest specialist. But the Agora format has one structural requirement. Every team must contain people who do not share the same domain knowledge. That's what we're trying to achieve, matchmaking people, strangers coming together, matching different ages. And you can see in the slide the image from the real hackathon, and you can see kids. And I have to report that one of the best experience I did have, seeing the very young girl, 10 years old girl, very passionate about specific challenge, and she recruited the best team, and she led them to the product delivery through the first ever hackathon I've done. I'm so proud by her. It's actually led her to become the entrepreneur. So I'm really excited about outcomes with our hackathons we're producing. So this is the slide representing the real hackathon. Some of you did attend, did participate. I'm very grateful for that. And you were coming in different roles. Again, I'm very grateful for seeing judges coming from your organizations, as well as participants, as well as just volunteers. So at our April hackathon, Open Data and AI Hackathon at RPI, so government agencies pitched their real unsolved data challenges, and developers, students, and practitioners formed cross-domain teams to address them. We were not pushing to address these specific challenges, so any strangers could pitch their own idea if they're passionate about this. So this was fine as well. And the most interesting project for me was like totally outsider, but it's actually got the audience support, was about birds watching. 2 judges recruited participants on the spot. I have to mention Scott Stalker. I was proud to introduce a couple people to him right there. And he was surprised to see his agency's employees, like his own employees right there volunteering, already doing this. Well, he was like thinking this is a great opportunity, and all his employees have to go for the hackathon like that. He was so excited. So it was win-win. Let's put it this way. So let me claim again the same statement, the same thesis. The people who built those solutions were not the deepest specialists in any single domain. They were the ones who could stand as the seen. So again, CDI, cross-disciplinary intersection. The CDI career practice has 3 concrete things. And if I had to give you 3 practices for building CDI deliberately, one would be, let me go back to this slide. Oops. Yeah, I think this one is good one. Identify one adjacent domain your technical work touches, but that you don't deeply understand. Spend like 3 months inside it, not reading about it, but just working in it. As a volunteer, just the fastest path maybe find a project where someone who knows that domain needs technical help. Show up as the junior person in the room. Do something, but this way you will add the industry to your resume. Industry experience, specific industry domain expertise and experience. 2, I do recommend to attend a hackathon outside of your primary technical domain. So if you're a QA engineer, do something with different technical domain. Civic data challenge, health data sprint, educational technology event. For example, seeing teachers trying to explain what they really want, what they actually need to build. You might be the most technically capable person in the room, but you will discover very quickly that technical capability is not the bottleneck. And the third advice I would offer, in your current role, the next time you are handed a specs or a test plan, ask the question before you execute. Is this the right problem? Not a resistance, not as a resistance, but as a cross-disciplinary approach. The Socratic habit apply to your day job. That's the difference between principal architect versus junior engineer. Switching to the last slide. This was the one I was talking about, and it's right here. So those 3 advices, I do recommend. I forgot I have the whole slide for that. Oops, I didn't skip this one. But I don't see the slide I really need. Let me stop sharing for a second. And let me unhide it. Meanwhile, feel free to ask any questions. If you have anything, say something. Oh, this is okay. So here's my slide deck. I can share it with you later. I welcome any questions. I think I covered a lot.
Yes, Yulia. This is really very helpful. As we see in this current AI world, we have to be cross-disciplinary right now. We cannot be a specialist anymore. And I like the concept of how you are using the Agora model and delivering it to the community. Yeah. So I think we have a few students as well, and I see some people, they can ask questions at this time if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, questions are welcome.
And this QR code, Yulia, is it for people to join?
Yes.
Or Hudson Valley? Okay.
Now let me see if it's it should be the right one.
Let me also try. We have a question in the chat from Joshua Appleman.
Yeah.
This
is the right one. Excuse me.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we have a question from Joshua Appleman. Is there an additional lens you would love to add to your collection?
Let me see. Is it in the chat?
Yes, he posted the question in the
Is there
chat.
additional lens you would love to add to your collection? Oof. Thank you, Joshua. It's a really good question. Always. Let me put it this way. Yes, always. I have a nickname, Yulia Too Much. So the lens I'm adding right now is the astrology lens. I appreciate Vedic astrology very much. I study it. I apply it. Now I do personal SWOT analysis. I help people with career advancement, just finding their strengths, given the natal chart. I really appreciate Indian approach, Eastern approach to astrology, way better than Western. I started with the Western astrology and I switched to Vedic. And of course, it's just the beginning of the journey because it's unlimited.
So, Yulia, are you thinking about adding lens for psychology? Human psychology play a very, very significant role in whatever we do, right? Whatever the field we are in. So, what's your thought on that lens? Psychology, human psychology.
I struggle with sound coming from Alkesh specifically. So what's my approach for human
Psychology.
What is my approach for human psychology? It means what? I do like humans. I'm human. I'm people person.
Yeah, human psychology means it's shaped by how we grew up and how we interpret, and that will determine your behavior and your approach to the life, every task, how we interact with the world, right? So let me tell you my journey. I read a lot on variety of subject, from history to quantum to psychology. So last year I read 9 books on psychology to better understand the human behavior.
Indeed, it's needed. You are working with a team. You have to understand those strangers.
Yeah, so and it helped me to become a better person. At least it helped me to understand why the people behave the way they are, right? And that helped me how to plan my things, right? And how to interact more better and mindful way, right? So yeah, I think human psychology is very interesting.
So I do appreciate my experience working with people so far. I do appreciate some psychology science which I was exposed to and studied, and I keep reading on psychology, but I think Vedic science gives you more on psychology, surprisingly enough. What I like about Vedas and Vedic astrology is it's very mathematically based, and it's kind of provide clusters where which you can use. You can measure each individual, but you can measure them not only by natal chart, but the moment of, it's kind of snippet of the moment of birth. So you see their strength, you see their planets the moment they were. And through practice, through experience, I started to be able to see where people coming from. So kind of easy to diagnose them without any reading, right? But you also have to see the human is not static. So once you judge the human as the object, you just pick the object and you say, okay, this is the human, and it never changes. It's not true. You cannot label and put him in the box because they keep changing. They are under influence of situations. They are under influence of experience. There is different dynamics happening. And when you think about humans and relationship and team building from the perspective of, okay, here's the gem or like piece of jewelry born and given these talents, but these talents are developing through his journey. So you can see this person, those talents just emerging, not happening yet, these to be developed. Or sometimes you see the human being as a bad character, behaving in a bad situation and just being really nasty to you, rude or negative to you. So what I developed, if it's relevant, I don't know, I will let me know. What I developed when I see the person fighting against me in the room or trying to be negative about me, I started to ask myself, where are you coming from what perspective you're coming. Did you get some bad morning? Did you get some fight with in your family this morning or last week? Maybe your mom just passed away, something happened. And I developed like this positive embracing feeling to this person, and just I understand this person is behaving like that today in the given circumstances. So it can change. And I'm just sending the love to this person, support, and I wish him good luck. If this person continue trying to harm and create the harm to other people, so I just try to isolate either myself or other people from this person. I kind of blocking these people and like, it's okay, go. But staying positive, understanding the higher self perspective, understanding his higher self is not designed this way. It's just circumstances. He's struggling with something or such. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's relevant to your question.
Yeah, I think all this relevant because, when we, whether we are in leadership role or not, but we have to interact with other people at work or at life, right? So if we understand human behavior better, then that will help to handle our life in a much better way, I think. And this is all important. And then other thing, my other lens is the neuroscience, actually. So all this combining the neuroscience and psychology and the astrology, because in a way, all these forces are impacting, but not everybody understanding. And the really you dig more into the human life, then you also need to understand the history, how we as a human evolve over the period of 4.8 billion years, right?
Absolutely. So, you develop in neural connections, new neurons, new connections, and actually that's how the person changes. Putting yourself out of the comfort zone actually facilitates developing new neurons. And if I may, I
develop new neuron pathways, and all this help to develop empathy, because human behavior is, as you said, it's not static, it's a spectrum, right? But why they just deviate or within that spectrum. Some people are like far right and far left. Generally, if you are in middle, then you're more empathetic, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Let me put one restraint here, which I saw really impacting the person development, human development. And I would say this is always applicable for people seeing you from outside, and also applicable for your own self-development. So when you put yourself in any kind of box, put yourself in the box. You're not the box. You're not limited to the box. You're unlimited by design.
Yeah.
I'm Christian.
Battle is within. Yeah. Battle is within. We have a much more inner world, much bigger inner world, and whatever we interpret, we understand. That's how we project to the so-called
Indeed.
physical outside world, right? And that's how we deal with the people. So some people are hostile, some people are calm, and all this. But yeah, what I understand is, if we understand ourselves better, then we can be better with others.
That's true. So call to action to everyone, never put yourself in the box. So it's applying for your job role as well. Don't limit your job role. I saw a lot of harm when people were just like, okay, my job role is such and such, and that's what I have to apply. It doesn't matter what's the flow, what the circumstances are, what the team, what's the vibe, what's the spirit, what's the strategy. Is just, this is my job role. So limiting everyone in the box. This is one of the worst case scenarios. And I saw newcomers, like when the organization is hiring new managers, I saw these new managers are coming from outside of the organization, not getting any background. They just try to manage and put everyone in the box because they were given their MBAs. I hate MBAs, by the way, but sorry, off record, I should not say that. But those executives, they are practicing very harmful processes because they are here temporary. They know they're here for like 2 or 3 years, no more, and they are not here for the long to build something lasting. Yes, of course you can see good people as well, but my statement is, don't put yourself into a specific box. Don't limit yourself with that. And this is definitely like no-go when you talk about cross-disciplinary approach. Put yourself out of the comfort zone, add something into your box, try to grow your box if you're thinking boxing, right? And I don't have anything to say to Daniel's question. When you talk to people about being cross-disciplined, how adaptive or restrained are people, and what challenges do I see? It's overall observation because I'm not in this country. So what I'm seeing here is this country is like more structured, more prescribed. The career growth is more prescribed. That's why there is a lot of resistance if you're coming with different perspective. At the same time, if you develop the confidence and experience, this will be appreciated. Yeah, it will have some resilience or resistance, but it will be appreciated. Make sense?
Yeah. I want to add a few things what Yulia has said, and you mentioned that Leonardo da Vinci and all this to basically explain the multidisciplinary and all this, right? So John and Daniel might know that Steinman, right, or Vinci himself. If you look back in any field, not only science and technology, but any field, like Vinci, Leonardo da Vinci, or Steinman, those are like multidisciplinary. Even though they had a prolific contribution and invention in whatever one field, but they were like a multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary, right? So as you know, don't fix it yourself in one box, but have an open mind. And when we have open mind, to open a mind, we need to basically understand who we are, why we are here, and what is the purpose of life, right? Once you understand that, then you become a better leader, better person. You become more empathetic, and possibly you don't have a fear, so that will change your psychology actually. And when it changes your psychology, because once you understand the fundamental truth is we don't have anything under our control other than what we can do little bit, right? Our effort. So yeah, but that's a great lecture, great perspective, but that's a key message, think, don't put yourself in a box, have open mind, and life is too short. If we live 100,
Indeed.
200 years, but life is too short. Yeah.
Indeed. I believe I'm missing the quote. I believe in Einstein. Albert Einstein said this. I'm probably not the smartest person. I'm not the smartest person on the planet, but I'm probably the most curious. So the call to action, be curious.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
would definitely leave
Even
you out
Nikolai
of this.
Tesla, he was very intuitive, very intuitive. And another psychotherapist, when during Stalin time in the Russia, right, in Russian Empire, Emil Coué, right? He was experimenting all this, because when you understand all this thing, why we are here, who we are here, then we be in the moment, right, in the present time. And then your intuition becomes so powerful, so you inside, this should be that way. You cannot prove it immediately, but that your intuition becomes so powerful. This is great. Thank you.
No, thank you for hosting me. I see one or two more questions. I don't know if the logo is still there. And I have to acknowledge that Daniel Raj did judge our hackathon second year in a row. So great appreciation to Daniel specifically. So what is the biggest issue you faced when you came up with the Open Hub idea, and how did you navigate through it? I don't know if it's a formal question or you really want to hear that. Pitching is the exercise worth to practice, worth to perfect. I was trying different pitching formula. I kind of came up with the working formula for pitch, whatever you're passionate about. And I have a slide which just blinked, and I didn't stay on this slide much, but I like to see this as ikigai. But this is probably a topic for different presentation. We can talk about self-development and ikigai perspective, self-coaching and ikigai perspective, but it also works for pitch. So when I pitched the hackathon, I was pitching this, until I found my angle. And the angle is now I'm bringing people together around technology. I'm bringing people together. It's about people. Technology is just a tool. And another question I have, I hope I answered this. The logo, your question was, what's the one thing every organizer gets wrong when they are planning their first hackathon? I don't know if there is a pattern for this, but don't think about the hackathon as the technical challenge. Hackathon is the creature. You're giving the life to something which have to live and breathe. So you're giving the birth, and then this creature will live by its own. It's better you babysit it well enough, and it's better you plan the workflow behind it, not just the technical challenge. So we have this framework. We're happy to share with this. what I'm trying to develop now, and this is probably too innovative for this country, but my approach is to use hackathon for each class, mini hackathon, right? Kind of minimizing as possible to mini blocks, but I'm introducing specific challenge which incorporate 5 needed elements into everything. And that's what that's what make people growing. They have to own the challenge. They would never grow if they would do formal assessment or study. They would grow if they will be given the challenge. Remember intrinsic motivation? So if your skills are a little bit challenged, so you learned it, you have to be a little bit challenged and you have to belong. So you see, it's about the challenge and it's about being part of something bigger. So this has to be planned very accurately, keeping in mind you're working in the society, you're working with other people. This is like the same important, if not more, for your hackathon. Make sense? Okay. I hope I answered those questions. If you have more, just let me know.
Sure, yeah, I think, yeah, that's my, those are all the questions, I believe. Thank you so much, Yulia. I mean, this was one of the moving talks that we had in this chapter. It's been a while. You have incorporated your own personal story, gave your thesis. We are so impressed by your cross-disciplinary intelligence. You're motivating us using intrinsic motivation. You know, it's not yet a theory. I've seen you firsthand working with you along on the Google GDG groups. And we also are having a discussion internally with our IEEE as well that we should also have a hackathon. So I'll probably coordinate with you, Yulia. We would like to collaborate, IEEE and GDG, so we can reach out to many people and, you know.
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed. If I can summarize, IEEE, Computer Society, and GDG are natural complements. IEEE has technical rigor, standards expertise, and a practitioner network with decades of depth. GDG has direct access to Google AI ecosystem and community activation model that crosses the boundary between technical and domain practitioners. Again, let me put it this way: the community component doesn't belong to Google, but it's all about humans, us running this. So I have my own business. I started my own business as a matchmaker in technology, and it is Open Hub. But GDG I still do as a volunteer, right? And that's what I encourage you to explore: IEEE and GDG, volunteering, and maybe something else will emerge. Other opportunities will emerge for sure. Together, those things look like the Agora.
Yeah, so true. Yeah. Yes, Yulia. And yeah, thank you so much, Yulia. Thank you for everything you do for the community, and thank you so much for taking time. We'd love to have you again. Probably we can see down the line, we can have you on our list as a speaker. So we'd love to have you again.
I
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
that. Let's plan something together. I'm available for planning.
Yes.
And GitDev Fest, Developers Festival is coming. So October 23, 24, submit your talk. We will be happy to see IEEE as a partner. All these engineers, all of your expertise would be welcome as a talks. But then we will apply it to the hackathon going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. I will upload this video to our YouTube channel, and I'll share you the details. And if you can please send the slide deck, I can send to the group over here. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Pleasure. Bye.
Bye. Thank you all.